Hello, my name is Christopher Witherspoon, and today will be doing my presentation for my Tableau project. So part one will consist of the data. The data consists of the states, the sales and the profits for the department or warehouse or store within the year 2023 across that sold products throughout the entire United States. So the first thing I did was I used Microsoft Excel to filter out the data. And once I filtered out the data, I uploaded the clean data to clean it up a bit to Tableau. So the first thing I did with the data is I analyzed the sales by region, product by the sales by products by region. And the first thing I noticed that jumps out is how the South region, when it comes to the bed department, had the lowest sales amongst any other region. So this allowed me to look more into the South region. So with the South region, you can see that the Hermanus bed, the Mom's bed, and the Stagatua bed are the only three categories. However, the only states that carry all three categories of the different beds are Florida, North Carolina, Tennessee, and Virginia. The Hermanus bed is automatically self-explanatory, seeing that it's being sold in every state in the southern region, which makes it the reason why it's so profitable versus the other states. So what I did was I made a profit ratio diagram to present, of course, how big the profit ratio and the profitability of the Hermanus beds is compared to both the Mom's bed and the Stagatua bed. And you can clearly see that Florida is one of the top selling states that carries all three beds. So looking from the standpoint of comparing both 2022 and 2023, you can see that in 2022, Florida was the least profitable state, and then in 2023, they became the most profitable. Whereas the next profitable state in 2022 would be Tennessee. However, they did decline in 2023. So from a maps perspective, you can see in both 2023, the only the only stores that have been profitable when it comes to the Mom's beds would be Virginia, the state of Virginia, and the state of Florida. When you look at North Carolina, even though they did sell over $219,000, they only generated a profit of only $55,000, over 55,000. Whereas you can see states like Virginia generated over $105,000, and of course Florida was generated when it comes to profit over $164,000. And then finally, you can see that even though Tennessee sales are 171,000, they're still not as profitable with bringing in only $53,000, over $53,000. So from that standpoint, I realized that maybe the Mom's bed, I understand why they're not being sold in the other states because they're barely profitable within the states they're in, which led me to move to the next beds, which is a Stagatua bed. And even at that standpoint, you can see that in both 2023, the most profitable state in 2022 was Tennessee when it came to the Stagatua beds. However, they drastically fell off in 2023 with bringing in the profit of only a little over $19,000, whereas in 2022 they brung in their profit was over 226,000. So therefore, you can see that the Stagatua bed fell off in the state of Tennessee. So this started to get me realizing that Tennessee is one state that's declining when it comes to the Stagatua beds. When you look at states like Georgia and Louisiana, they only sell the Stagatua beds, which they do not sell the Mom's beds. So within all four states that sell all three categories of beds, the most profitable state is only Florida. And that leads me to my next map, my next sell and profit ratio map, where you can see that in both years, the most profitable state is Florida, followed by North Carolina. And even with that being said, the sales may seem high at 628,000. They only brung in profitable wise 271,000 compared to the 579,000, over $579,000, excuse me, that was brought in by Florida. So then therefore you can see that both the Malmö's beds and the Stagatua beds are just not profitable in the Southeast region. So from this standpoint, when I created my workbook and my dashboard, you can see I made a comparison for both 2022, and you can see the sales from Florida increasing all the way from bringing in the sales of 10,000, a profit of 5,000, versus in 2023, you can see they brought in over $158,000 worth of profit. And you can also see that through the years, how Florida transpired from being the lowest profitable in 2022 to being the most profitable, the least profitable in 2022, and become the most profitable when it came to the Mom's beds in 2023. And then when you look at the Stagatua, you can see that Florida is once again the most profitable state, being at over $1 million versus any other state just not generating anything too much. Sorry. So for overall, when you look at my story, you can see clearly that we started here where this bar graph represents the sales and profits for department and products for the year, which you can see that again, being the Herman's bed being sold in every state in the Southeast region, which makes it more profitable. You can also see that the contrast ratio of each individual state, the 4 states that carry all 3 categories of bed, and you can see that Florida is number 1, and then you can pretty much see that North Carolina is number 2. But even at that standpoint, you can see from a profitability standpoint that both the Mom's bed and the Stagatua beds are just not as profitable as the Herman's bed. This right here displays once again all 4 states carrying all 3 units, all 3 variety of bed sets. With Florida, you can clearly see being the most profitable in each category in 2023. And then here's another comparison of both 2022 and 2023 sales, where you can see that the sales profit for Mom's bed in the past 2 years, and once again, they're just not making too much profit, and their sales are not doing well. And you can see from this standpoint, at 2023, when it pertains to the Mom's bed, you can see that Tennessee has the lowest profit, which being the profit ratio of 29% versus 50% from North Carolina, 37%, I'm sorry, from Virginia, and Florida containing the 124%. So you can see from this standpoint that the sales and profits from the Stagatua bed in the past 2 years, and once again, you can see that Florida is just toppling over all the other states. So that gets me to the standpoint that when you get to the Stagatua beds, Georgia generates the lowest sales and profits, next to being, I'm sorry, the Tennessee has the lowest sales in 2023. So overall, you can see that both from 2022 standpoint and 2023, that both the Mom's beds and the Stagatua beds should just be removed from the Southeast region, and this company should consider discontinuing both the Mom's bed and the Stagatua beds due to their poor sales and profits in the Southeast region, and instead just focus on the Herman's beds. Overall, what I learned from this project is that in order to sell merchandise, it's all about the location. Understanding where your location can generate your sales and allows you to be profitable. Whereas if you pick the wrong location, you're not gonna make money. Also, this project allowed me to get a better understanding of Tableau and to understand how to create data and, of course, give an explanation of how data is represented and how it can be utilized. Thank you.